are some people that are highly upset with the Last Dance documentary, including Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant. And rightfully so, they have their gripes. Everybody has their gripes, especially when you're in a documentary where they're depicting things that you don't necessarily have autonomy to say, I want this in it and I want that in it. However, there are a couple points that I feel like are missing within all these gripes. Number one, you can always say, do not put me in this film. You can say, I don't want my likeness, I don't want anything I did to be in this film, and you can sue them. So like, to me, if this is like a big point of contention, just sue the guy, or sue ESPN, or sue Mandalay Sports Management. Sue them. Get that out the way. I did not approve for my likeness to be in here. So to me, sometimes, and I know with documentaries, they have a little leeway. They can change the name of characters and stuff like that. But that's up to your legal representation, because both Scottie and Horace look like they participated willingly. Secondly, did Michael Jordan lie about a lot of this stuff, or whatever the case is? Is a lot of this stuff not public record? Because I understand the beefs. Like, for example, Horace Grant called Michael Jordan a snitch. However, it was public record that a lot of guys were doing drugs in the early 80s, late 70s, early 80s. And there are public record articles written about certain guys right around the time Michael was there that was doing the drugs. Michael didn't say anybody's name, so I guess, what are you going to call that, dry snitching or whatever the case is? But a lot of the stuff is public record. Another example I'll give you, Scottie Pippen. He sat down and he didn't want to go in when Phil Jackson drove the play and it wasn't for him. This was in another documentary regarding the Bulls. This was in another documentary that I watched that they talked about Scottie not going in when Phil Jackson asked him to go in. That was in another documentary. I understand that Mike is your man, or for Horace Grant, that's not his man. We'll get more into that. But the thing is, a lot of this stuff is public record. And the thing that comes up is, if you don't want a lot of the stuff to come out what you did, don't do it in the first place. Or, like I said before, you sue them. Then another problem I have with this, right? Because people are saying that Scottie's upset. Mike and his company partner with ESPN. Guess who Scottie Pippen works for? ESPN. He should have went to ESPN, because you know he's seen the advanced screening about it. He should have went to them and said, hey, take this shit off the air. It's messed up because his employer is peddling the stuff that he's mad about. When he has a platform on with his employer, with ESPN. So it's kind of like, you get mad at Mike, but you're not going to get mad at the people that's playing it nonstop and streaming it and all this other stuff. Horace Grant has been talking to Shannon Sharp and letting Shannon Sharp know, like, Mike tried to pump me, I wasn't having it, and I didn't give up the information for the book on the Jordan rules.
He said there are several times that he and Mike almost came to blows. He told me that it started from the day he got there, that Mike started this, what we would term bullying, a source of contention with him and Mike. They asked him about this in the video. He said, Sharp, I looked dead into the camera. I said, Mike didn't want to see me then, and he damn sure doesn't want to see me now. I'm not going to get into the other stuff. I said, he said, look, I want you to tell everything what I'm telling you. I said, nah, bruh, I don't feel comfortable saying that.
Horace never really liked Mike. So to me, it's like, well, Horace, same thing. Like, why do the documentary? You don't like the guy. Why do it? And, you know, he was talking about how he came back from Orlando and, you know, they beat Mike when he first came back. All of this is public record. Like, nothing that's being depicted is not public record. The only thing that I didn't really see in the documentary, you guys correct me if I'm wrong, he said that he would have let him eat food at certain times. But I don't think they put that in the documentary. But correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. These guys, they're taking a lot of frustration out on Mike or whatever the case is. When, if you look at the documentary, right, because they feel like Scottie wasn't represented well enough, even though Mike said he couldn't win championships without Scottie, he felt like he's like the best number 2 guy, whatever the case is. He has tons of highlights in there. They talked about how he was underpaid and how he wasn't happy. So that's another thing. I felt like, okay, maybe Scottie didn't view that as a victory. But to me, it was a victory because I didn't know that Scottie, being the best player in one of the best players in the game, was getting blackballed like that or getting underpaid like that. To me, that like shine a light on like, damn, like this dude had to go through it with his family. Like Scottie had a whole segment, basically dedicated to him. Rodman, same thing, whole segment dedicated to him. Mike, throughout the whole movie or the documentary, they're talking about all his flaws. Gambling. How his dad passing away was essentially blamed on his gambling. How there was a secret suspension because he was gambling. The way he treated his teammates, calling people like Scott Burrell a hoe. Telling Scott Burrell, I'm going to whoop your ass. There's so many things that Mike could look at it and be like, damn, this is going to look real nasty on my reputation. To me, I feel like everybody equally got a lot of shine, or not equally got a lot of shine, because Mike is always going to get the most shine. But all the rest of the guys, they got a lot of shine, and they got a lot of hate. And to me, it was 50-50 or 51-49. Like, I feel like this is getting taken over the edge. And I think the reason why it is because a lot of guys, when I heard about this documentary, they thought that, all right, Mike shot this documentary, he about to get 10 mil, and we're not going to get anything. And go and look what Mike does. He donates all the proceeds.
Players that they've said Michael Jordan is doing this documentary and he got money from this. He got like $10 million. Well, Michael Jordan's giving it all away. He isn't getting a dime from this.
Like, I'm not touching this. So a lot of these guys, and even Stephen A. alluded to this, they felt like Mike never did enough for like the black community. Mike never helped them get head coaching jobs, even though he hired Patrick Ewing as an assistant coach. But a lot of players feel like, yo, Mike never did nothing for me.
History of players who felt, guess what? Being the billionaire that he is, he should have done more for them. Being the owner for the Charlotte Hornets, he should have hired them or done more for them along those lines.
So, like, now he want to come and bash me or whatever the case is. That's dead wrong or whatever the case is. And to me, I equate it to, like, Cameron and Joel Santana or Jay-Z and Beanie Siegel. Like, these guys, Cameron and Jay, they put people on. When everything goes sour, that all the blowback comes after the fact. You know what I'm saying? But when everything was good and was rocking, it was all good. It's all good. And then when everything is not so good or something comes out that they don't want to come out, they get all mad about it. But to me, you just can't be mad at Mike. You got to be mad at ESPN too, guys, because they helped shape and mold the documentary and they put stuff out. I knew about the Scottie sitting out thing like 10 years prior. ESPN had another documentary about the Bulls and that happening. So, guys, like, I understand their gripes and I understand, like, in terms of defending yourself, of course, I have no problem with you defending yourself. But some of the way that these guys are going hard, it's like, maybe, I don't know what, maybe they were promised a payday, it didn't happen. Maybe they thought that they were above reproach. That didn't happen. From Steve Kerr getting punched in the face, that's another blemish on Mike's career or whatever the case is. To him losing to Orlando, that's a big blemish. Some people could use that against him, like, hey, yeah, he's supposed to be the GOAT, but you came back and you wasn't even good. I'm just going to be honest with you guys. Like, and people got to understand about documentaries. They're going to shape things. It's going to be from a certain point of view. So if you don't want to do it, take yourself out of it. Another key piece that goes unmentioned. People are saying, like, well, nobody's promoting it. Scottie's not promoting it. Phil's not. All these people that are close to Mike, they're not promoting it. Why are they promoting it if they're not getting any money from it? They're not getting paid from it. So why would they promote it? And just because somebody doesn't promote something doesn't necessarily mean that they're fully against it. This ain't the first time that there was a rift between Mike and Scottie. That's another thing, guys. This is not the first time that Mike and Scottie ever got into an argument about this stuff. Period. Of course, we know Horace don't really like Mike. The way he acted when Orlando, beat the Bulls or whatever cases. But then when Mike came back the next year, he swept them. He didn't say nothing about it no more. So it's just odd, man. It's not even like Mike is really going in on, he'd be like, Scottie, for example, the back injuries, like Scottie had a back or migraine. Scottie had a migraine, I didn't question him about it. He didn't like necessarily say, I didn't believe that he didn't, whatever. When Mike says, I knew it was Horace Grant, he didn't necessarily like, he didn't give you all the receipts of why he knew it was Horace Grant. And that's what's dangerous to me, like, about these things. Do you want Mike to pull out the receipts that he has? Like, do you want him to really go and show you in-depth detail, like who told him what? Because a lot of people don't understand. A lot of stuff is coming back to Mike on the low. There's a lot of stuff that he could have put even more into the documentary that will really piss people off. And it's still public record. So these guys, you have your gripes with Mike, but guys, it wasn't just Mike that put this stuff out. It wasn't just Mike's company. It was ESPN that had some stuff to do it. They have some footage. And a lot of people that you guys are working with, they had a lot to do with some of the stuff that went into the film that you don't like. So these guys need to understand that as well. Hoops Junction, Hoops Meets Hoopla. Like, comment, subscribe.